Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGL Minecraft here with game number 2 between Acer.Nerchio, who's Nerchio in this game, the Red Zerg, who's over here actually, and his opponent, who is going to be Empire.Kas, who is the blue Terran in the bottom right corner. Luckily, they kept the same colors to make it easier for all of the viewers, as well as for me. Of course, they're different races, so it's not too bad. You can see that he actually he had a missed rally point right there. He had to rally to the SCV, and actually if you do that, what happens is the SCV is following the other SCV and just kind of like apprentices under him and just watches him, and doesn't actually do any mining on his own, as he is not properly certified, which is a very bad thing to do, as it looks like he's actually doing work, but he's actually just really following around. And something that we've all done, I'm sure, although this early in the game it's pretty difficult to do, because that's the only thing you're doing is watching your miners and possibly microing your miners if you're doing that as well. This map is Shakuras Plateau. Of course, it is the new version of Shakuras Plateau, as nobody ever uses the old version of Shakuras Plateau anymore, so there are no more side channels from which to attack your opponent anymore, unfortunately. But your opponent can spawn next to you this way, and actually this Overlord is probably going to go ahead and spawn, or is going to go ahead and spot his opponent right here, and I see a supply depot was in fact built right there. It looks like Kaz is just checking out the supply depot real quickly right now. Now, if Nerchio is smart, he will be able to see that supply depot and turn, but because he's expecting the command center to be there, it's possible he's just going to keep sending his Overlord forward, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And, oh, never mind, he turned it around in time, so his opponent doesn't know quite exactly where he is. However, he does know his opponent is directly across from him right there. Drone Scout is going to go ahead and go forward and spot the barracks, so he will know exactly what's going on, and furthermore, he's going to probably see that there is no gas either, and that will also tip him off as to the fact that he's going for a 1-Rax fast expand. Meanwhile, Nerchio looks like is in fact going for a hatchery first. Spawning pool is now going down, so he's not going for any sort of silly hatch pool builds, although that is possible in this sort of situation. Although Terran players can actually provide a reasonable amount of pressure from a single barracks, as you just rallied across, and if you get a bunker down and your opponent doesn't pull enough drones to be able to deal with the bunker, then it's actually possible to deal a decent amount of damage right there. Looks like he is patrolling a drone just for that sort of situation, as he doesn't actually know exactly if his opponent is building a second barracks in a proxy position, because I do not believe he spotted the command center. Nope, he did not spot the command center, so he doesn't actually know if his opponent's doing that. So that's why he had the... Oh, no, he had the drone there. Partially for that reason, but also partially because he was just waiting to mine. I think he just transferred it just a little bit too soon. So his hatchery is going to be up and running now, and remains to be seen exactly what sort of builds they're going to be going. It looks like he's going for a slightly faster gas, I believe, than he did in the previous game. So he will be getting speed just a little bit quicker. Empire.Kas, meanwhile, is in fact rallying a couple of Marines over onto the watchtower just to make sure he has control of that, and his opponent can't really do anything about that. And he is in fact going for the double command center opening build again. Again, this provides quite a strong economy. Of course, it did lead to victory in the last game, but that was hardly because of the build. It had a lot to do with the fact that he, these Marines are going to be primed to snipe the Zerglings and able to get 2 Zergling kills. You can see they moved the Marines to the edge of the grass right there and started moving forward right away, so Nerchio had the least amount of time possible in order to respond. And I think he's actually going to be looking to apply a decent amount of pressure with those Marines. A wall right here from these barracks will keep the rest of his base safe in the meantime. But as I was saying, he got picked apart at the gold, and you know, it wasn't really the build's fault that he lost. Looks like that queen is already out, however, so the Marines are going to be able to deal a decent amount of damage to it. However, is not going to lose a Marine right there, and Marines are actually going to be able to fire and deal a decent amount of damage to that spine crawler as well. Nerchio is going to be in a little bit of trouble, as he doesn't actually have any additional Zerglings out. Oh my god, he gets the queen! That's absolutely gigantic. That's a huge mistake from Nerchio right there. PFF, I think he's angry about that one. He did not want to lose a queen right there. I don't think there was any chance of him losing a queen, but it looks like he did in fact lose a queen there. Does he have? He did not have an extra one, so he's going to have to wait 50 seconds. So he is going to miss a larva inject right there. Woo, that was a huge win right there for Empire.Kas. So Empire.Kas should be in great shape right now economically, as he did go for that early command center, and he knows that his opponent's production is going to be at least slightly reduced for a good amount of time. It's also worth noting that it actually costs your opponent 150 minerals, of course, because queens are 150 minerals. So, and also just think about all the creep tumors, all the injects. Like, if he had a third queen right now, he could have already connected the 2 hatcheries. Well, okay, so when this third queen pops, he could have connected the 2 hatcheries and been injecting that entire time. And Oh, looks like those Marines are going to have revenge taken against them, though. Oh, looks like only 2 of them are going to die. He's probably going to lift the barracks and go ahead and let the buddies in, as they do want to be let into the base right now. He is going for the 3rd hatchery. Very smart job, as you never want to be on even bases with your opponent when you are a Zerg player. At some point, you are definitely going to want to jump ahead on bases. And double upgrades from Empire.Kas. Definitely like this idea. He's actually not going to have quite enough gas when it starts, and he's actually going to get supply blocked. He's actually supply blocked right now. So he should definitely be looking to start a supply depot real quickly right now, as he's apparently still not even noticed that he's supply blocked yet. Uh-oh, this is going to get bad, actually. This is a very long supply block. Oh, wow, this is just painful to watch. Okay, now he's just starting the supply depot. He's already been supply blocked for 10 seconds or so, maybe longer, so it's definitely going to hurt his SCV production. Looks like these Marines are going to move out, probably clear the watchtowers, is my guess. Stim is on the way, as well as weapons, and armor should be starting right there, which is, there it is. Now, these Marine forces are going to move out. Most likely, the rest of Nerchio's forces are going to try to combine. Now, he actually has not opted for a Baneling nest quite yet, so these Marines are going to be fairly scary. Now, they're not going to have stim, and they're not going to have combat shields, just like in the previous game, so they're not going to look as scary as maybe they would under those circumstances, but they can still deal a lot of damage, and Nerchio really does not have the forces to be able to deal with this, as he's moving Zerglings in. Definitely does not want to lose any additional Zerglings right now, but these Marines are going to walk up. They're going to get some free drone kills. Looks like just 1 drone. And then he's going to slide behind the minerals, and very nice job right there. However, the drone's mineral walking just a little bit to be able to get a bit of a better concave. However, oh wow, the Zergling's funneling right behind that mineral wall right there, and the rest of his forces there. Okay, so let's take a look at the workers killed right now, and he's droning behind this. Nerchio just droned 16 additional drones. That's not going to help at all. Now, but he's got 3 roaches. He's got the queen. Now, that's definitely going to be able to clean up the rest of these Marines right now, and I think that's the reason he decided to drone behind this, is the roaches were already in fact on the way over to the base, and so he knew he would just need to replenish his drone supply. So as I said, he did lose, ended up losing 5 workers total, but he lost a lot of mining time. He also lost a good amount of Zerglings as well. It was definitely worth it for Nerchio to move out in that sort of attack situation. Now, we're up to 5 barracks. Unfortunately, none of them have add-ons except for this tech lab right here, so he's not able to really ramp up his production too much at this point in time. The factory is actually opting for a reactor right away, so he's not going to go for as heavy of a siege tank build as he did in the previous game. And wow, he's actually already getting a 4th command center, so he's definitely aiming for a very long-term game. Now, part of the reason that he's aiming for a 4th command center right now is he knows how much damage he just did to his opponent in that previous attack, and he knows he will be able to take a 4th base. I mean, at least relatively soon. I mean, if you can afford to get the command center as a Terran player, it's worth getting, just because the mules will allow you to make up the minerals cost of the command center itself. Like, command centers just have value on their own, and that's why when you see Terran players who are maxed out and have excess minerals, they always get additional command centers. And you know, late game, of course, that also helps you get rid of SCVs and then switch to mules, which allows you to free up supply and so on. Looks like Nerchio is in fact going to try to outflank this Marine force. The Marine force does not have combat shields, which is about halfway, but it is at 1-1. And he is actually going to stim forward against these forces and kill a good amount of Nerchio's forces. Nerchio just cannot catch a break here, as the Marines are just chewing through all of his units right now. Now, ooh, this nice little Zergling counterattack was very smart, and it's actually going to get a good amount of SCVs here. SCVs are going to turn and fight. Looks like, nope, they're going to just run away. It almost looked like they were fighting, but the Marines are going to come back and be able to save the vast majority of those forces. Going to check for a 4th right now, but it will not be found. File not found, or something like that. And so he's going to have to be going back to his forces right now. And it looks like, actually, I think Kaz is going to want to aim for getting a couple gases. Yep, there he goes on this 3rd base, as he is relatively mineral heavy right now, and you do not want too many Marines as a Terran player. Of course, Marines are quite good, but you do need to back them up with tech units, either medevacs or siege tanks, in order to deal with things like banelings and infestors. Infestors can be dealt with siege tanks, but you can also do with ghosts and other tech units. So Empire.Kas is definitely going to be in a superior situation right now. Now you may say, well, Nerchio has more of a supply right now. Well, the Zerg player is almost always going to be ahead of a Terran player on supply in this sort of situation, unless the Terran player is just like absolutely been falling apart like that. You would normally expect the Zerg player at about the 12-minute mark to be ahead of either a Terran or a Protoss player at this point in the game. Now, these Zerglings are going to run around just a little bit. 3 Marines right there are going to prevent them from going up. Looks like they are actually just going to kill that Marine right there and probably escape on out with their lives. A nice drop here from Empire.Kas is going to go ahead and move into this relatively unprotected third. Going to have to check the minimap. Looks like a counterattack is on the way from Nerchio right now. Go ahead and check that out in just a second. Looks like that queen is definitely going to fall, as well as the hatchery is most likely going to fall as well. Nerchio is trying to decide what to do. He's not going back right away, however, which tends to indicate, actually, that he's going to be going for a counterattack. However, some siege tanks here are going to prevent that counterattack, so he turns around and is going to try to engage here. Now, unfortunately for him, he waited so long to turn around and engage that he might lose that infestation pit. It might be before... oh, no, looks like that's not going to be the case. He's actually just going to have to pick up right away. I was going to say before the pathogen glance finishes. But he did not focus that down right away. If he did, he possibly could have focused down the infestation pit, taken out that before adrenal glands finished. All those infestors that are popping right now would not be able to fungal right away, and this push would be a whole lot scarier, but it looks like he is not aiming for a push, at least right now. At this moment, he does see his opponent's force moving. He says, yes, sure. Not exactly sure why he's saying that. Looks like these forces are going to go ahead and move forward. He's going to want to siege up that siege tank. That'd be a great position for the siege tank to siege up. However, nope, looks like he's going to keep it unsieged because he knows his opponent's being quite mobile with his force. And looks like he's going to go ahead and move forward. And Nerchio's force is actually going to be maybe there was a pause, perhaps? Looks like Nerchio's force is actually going to be cornered a bit right here, and it's not going to trade very cost effectively at all. So he's going to try to get a flank off, but I don't think it's going to be very effective right here, as the forces are going to go ahead and move forward, and looks like these roaches are going to go ahead and be taken out. That siege tank is going to siege up. However, a nice fungal from below, very smart from Nerchio. It's going to take over a good-sized group of Marines right there, but still, look at Empire.Kas. He's at 107, 69 supply to 119. He is definitely in a huge, absolutely gigantic lead right now. He's going to be able to take off that infestor, target down, takes out the infestor. Those roaches are not going to get away either with some proper control from Empire.Kas, and he's going to be in a great position in order to deny his opponent's fourth for the second time, as well as this base, which you can be described as the fourth or the fifth. There was a bit of a drop there, but it was in fact cleaned up by Nerchio in that situation, as it is now down to 2 Marines. Those 2 Marines are going to start attacking that hatchery. Remains to be seen if he's going to be able to save it. Yes, he is going to be able to save it. He splits off a couple of additional Zerglings. However, this hatchery had to be canceled for sure, and these, I think they're 2 Marines, yes, with 1-0 siege tanks, which means that they will one-shot Zerglings, despite the fact that they have 1 Carapace, which I don't even know if they do. Yes, they do, but they still get one-shotted by siege tanks because they do 38 damage per shot. 3 entire medevacs full of Marines are going to move forward and take out this hatchery. There's no way that Nerchio will be able to save that at all. He doesn't have any infestors in the way or anything like that to be able to take it out. And he's going to go ahead and take that out. Zerglings are going to move up and force Empire.Kas to try to battle them, actually. And he's got a very nice spread of his Marines right there. Are going to be able to draw a number of fungal growths. And actually, he's still able to battle through right here despite the fungal growths. And I think able to deal, not quite able to kill any infestors. However, a giant push is moving in here. Good fungal growth. It deals a lot of damage to those Marines right there. I think another fungal growth is going to come off. Actually, did kill all those Marines right there, but Nerchio knows that he is going to be taken out by this push. You see that there are 6 siege tanks as well as a good amount of Marines right there that is absolutely barreling through the rest of his forces. He's down 90 supply, and he has to GG out of this game. Very impressive game from Empire.Kas, and great way to bounce back after that failed game 1. He stuck with the macro style. And, I mean, look at how many resources he's floating right now. His opponent's only on 3 bases. He has this little push moving in from the north, as well as this little push moving in from the east is going to go ahead and move in. That drop, by the way, that I was talking about did, in fact, damage that hatchery to 350, which means that these Marines don't need to fire at that hatchery too long, especially with 2-2, in order to take it out. So, very impressive game from Empire.Kas. I really like the style there. Aiming for the long game the entirety of the game, you know, going for pushes when it's cost-effective, but aiming constantly to expand, to get upgrades. You know, he was ahead of upgrades on his opponent the whole time, and when you're ahead with Marines, they just deal so much damage. It's just unreal how much damage Marines deal. Like, you may kill huge portions of them with, you know, infest or fungal growth, or not infest, fungal growth or banelings. But, you know, they're just going to keep bouncing back and dealing tons of damage. So, very impressive game 2. We're going to move on to game number 3. This is PGL Milncraft signing out.